Do West Ham have an injury crisis coming our way? Did yesterday happen? Did it actually happen? Oh, my days. Do West Ham have a massive injury crisis coming our way? We've already lost a couple of players to the AFCON. Kudos. Questionably our best player, our most informed player. One of our most informed players right now is with AFCON, but he's also supposedly got an injury. Naif Aguerd off with the Moroccan international team playing at AFCON. We played Bristol City, championship team. Fair play to them. They've done well. They played well, particularly in the second half. But my word, did they batter us. Not just mentally, but physically. And you could see it from the off. Fouls were getting rammed in. Players were getting injured left, right, and centre. Coufal has picked up a knock. That's the first one. Vladimir Coufal has picked up a knock. So we've got Vladimir Coufal has picked up a knock, was brought off as a precaution, and we put Ben Johnson in, who hasn't signed a contract at West Ham. And in the meantime, Thilo Kehrer has been loaned out to Monaco. What the actual? What the actual? So that highlights a massive problem for us. On top of that, Coufal supposedly is not happy about his contract. What do we do there? What do we do there? Then let's move into the centre-half position. Konstantinos Mavropanos, who's been playing a lot over the past couple of weeks for West Ham, goes up for a header. Conway, the player from Bristol City, keeps an eye on him. He goes up in the air. Conway boshes into him. Bang, he full force, full weight lands down on his chest or his ribcage area. He tries to play on. He can't. You could see quite clearly he couldn't play on. He goes out. What does it mean? You bring on Ogbonna. Now, listen, I hold my hands up and I'll say to you, he's been performing very well for West Ham in the last couple of games. There is a massive, but we cannot rely on him. We can't rely on him. He's got to be there only in the position that he is in, but we cannot rely on him. So that's why when I hear rumors about West Ham handing him an extension, a contract extension, it means that we're looking to rely on him. And I don't think we can. We need to look at further recruits down the line. And the problem when you've got an Ogbonna in your team is that you lack that pace in the back line. You lack that pace in the back line when you've got Vladimir Coufal already. You lack that pace in the back line when you've got Ogbonna already. You lack that pace in the defense when you have a potentially injured Kurt Zouma. It just doesn't read that well. The goal that Bristol City scored really came about from a simple penetratable pass, but no defender could get near him. And I'm telling you what, for all the doubters of Naif Aguerd, do I think he would have got closer to the player at that point? Absolutely. That's why I hold my hand up. You do not, and we will not sell Naif Aguerd unless some money, silly money comes in for him, silly offer comes in for him, and we can go and get a guaranteed replacement who can hit the ground running. That player could be Kilman from Wolves, but it's going to take a lot of money to be able to tempt him or tempt Wolves to even consider selling to West Ham. It's a massive issue. Like, as much as West Ham are, whether you are for the playing style that West Ham are doing or against the playing style, West Ham are still sitting sixth in the Premier League. West Ham are still performing and getting results against teams when people like us fans don't expect it. And then we turn up against Bristol City and we put in a performance like that. But it's a concern when we can't even remotely hold on to the ball, hold on to possession. We can't even play the ball out from the back. The ball, it was like a really old school West Ham. It wasn't even like a low block. It was panic on the ball. Let's try and hold the ball, but we panicked. We couldn't. Even when the ball was played into Emerson, it was smashed forward. It was smashed forward all the time. Not one player would have the balls to try and hold on to the ball. I felt like at some points, Fornals did try, but he really couldn't get control of that game, control of that ball. Unfortunately, James Ward-Prowse couldn't. Tommy Soucek couldn't. Alvarez picked up a yellow card. Not in my opinion. I don't think it was. I need to see the replay, but I really don't think it was. And I think there was many other yellow cards the referee didn't hand out that should have been handed out to the Bristol City team. Anyway, I'll put my excuses to the side. Paqueta goes off really early in the game. Paqueta, we all thought he's included in the game. Some of the fans were going, why risk him? Some of the fans were going, well, play him, give him some game time. We're not going to play for 2 more weeks. Well, more the fool we knew, because we drew the game, which means we've now got another game next week. We had an opportunity to have a 2-week break, but the replay is taking place next week. So we go travel to Ashton Gate, Bristol City. We'll be buzzing about that. Full attendance. We need to get something from the game. I'll tell you why I'm concerned in 1 second, because Paqueta goes off. We don't know how dangerous that is. We don't know what the situation is there. We've heard from David Moyes saying that they're going for a scan today. So we'll probably find out a little bit more. We're hoping it's not as serious, but let's not get our hopes up yet. Then, to make matters worse, our most informed player, Jared Bowen, looks like he rolls over on his ankle for literally the last kick of the game. Last kick of the game. Struggles to get up, hobbles. Bosh, he looks injured. And it's a concern. We've just got to pray that it's not as serious as what it potentially looks. Because my word, we cannot be doing without Paqueta, Bowen, Dinos, Coufal, Kudos, Agerd, just to name a few players. Every single one of those players I have named to you there start. Questionably, Konstantinos Mavropanos, but there is questionably half of your team out of the team. And the problem then is the squad depth. And unfortunately, we really don't have it. We really don't have it. I'm not panicking yet because we've got the January window to do. We've got a couple of more weeks for the Premier League game of Sheffield United to take place. We're going to hear, hopefully later today, what happens with the Jared Bowen scan and the Lucas Paqueta scan and the situation with Vladimir Coufal and the situation with Konstantinos Mavropanos. We're going to wait and see what happens there. However, it's not looking great because I look at the rest of the team and I'm like, where the hell are we going to perform from? You hear things about David Moyes saying like Danny Ings potentially was the best player when he came on as a sub. Well, I thought his link-up play was quite good, but he still put the ball in the back of the net when he had a clear-cut chance. Typical Danny Ings chance. Rumours are that he could be off to Wolves. It's going to be cup-tied now, but he still could be off to Wolves. There could be a deal there to send him to Wolves with potentially another player, try and bring Keelman back in to spend less money. Who knows what the situation is, but the concern I've got is that we are struggling if we are going to pick up these injuries. If we have 5 or 6 first-team players out, and we as fans believe we only have a core 12 players that are strong enough to compete, what the fuck are we going to do? What are we actually going to do? What we need to do is rely on the situation, rely on the squad, rely on Tim Steidten to go and do his job abroad, rely on him to search for those little gems. Because let's look at his history of bringing players in. Let's just look at a couple. If we look at the level and the ability of the players that he has brought in, Alvarez and Kudos, just to name a couple, if you can find 1 or 2 gems like that, that will really benefit West Ham. That will massively benefit us, especially now when we could be in an injury crisis. And this is an injury crisis. Trust me when I say it, because most of the players that are injured or are not here are first-team players, first-team impact players. You're talking about West Ham potentially losing our front 3. That is potentially disastrous. Front 3, potentially disastrous. It's the truth. Bye-bye, Benny. He's gone, man. He's not even getting used as a substitution. We're going to try and generate as much income as we possibly can. That, for me, looks like that potentially could be a deal that's going to be heading out the door. But we need to bring in recruits and someone and people that are going to step into that situation really quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking at the loan market in the Premier League, players that need to bounce back from their career. Keep an eye out for deals like that. Trust me, I think that could be something, a player that can hit the ground running. But Tim Steidten's out there doing his job, and my word, we need him more than we have ever needed him before, because we need to build up the momentum. We need to go to Bristol. We need to go and get a result. We've got Sheffield United. We need to go get a result to try and just keep that pressure on that top 6. But I'm going to keep the faith. I'm not going to panic just yet. Is there an injury crisis at West Ham? Are you going to panic? I'm not. Well, I am. Listen, it wasn't a great day at the office yesterday. Everyone knows that. No one's stupid enough to try and conceive that what went on yesterday was good. It wasn't. It really wasn't. We allowed Bristol to take control of the game. We allowed them to dominate in the midfield. And yesterday against Bristol, that really highlighted the areas that we are weak in. There's quite a few. And we strength and depth, and the summer's key, the winter's key, you name it. It's all key. And we need strength and depth. Real quality strength and depth. Join Rusty B later on. Take it easy. And of course, come on, you Irons.